Hey guys, it's Britta back with another Monday review, another cream bronzer review. I feel like I said this before, but all I review these days are cream bronzers and SPFs, but I'm passionate about both of them. And this is the Anastasia Beverly Hills cream bronzer. I have the shade Amber. I was really excited to try this, but I definitely have a lot of thoughts on it, so let's get into the review. So I picked this up initially because I saw Kathleen Lights rave about it. She had the shade Amber and Golden Tan and liked both shades. And I also saw Amanda Z rave about this. Well, she put it in that cream bronzers like roundup video that she did, and she applied it. It looked really nice and the color looked really nice. I think I actually forget, she had the lighter shade, I think, and then she said that she picked up Amber, and I actually don't know how that looked on her skin tone. But I thought Amber seemed like the best fit. I was actually in Sephora and swatched Amber and Golden Tan, the two that Kathleen had, and Golden Tan just seemed a little too deep for me, and Amber looked really nice. But although, you guys, the Sephora lighting can be so tricky. I feel like in store it looked a lot more cool toned, and then when I got it home, it's definitely very warm and like lots of yellow in here. So I don't think I said the price yet, but this is $35 for 1 ounce, 30 ml of product. I think that's actually a really good deal because you get so much product in here. I feel like this could last you for literally ever, because if you guys use cream bronzer like I do, you kind of use it so sparingly, just like on the perimeter of your face, that you don't use a lot of product at all. Even that NARS cream bronzer that I've had for months, it looks like I barely made a dent in it, and I use it so often. So I feel like it's a lot of product for the price. And I actually really love this packaging. It feels a little bit more substantial than even like the NARS packaging, which I talked about felt a little cheap to me. I really like the matte lid that's color matched. I don't love the Anastasia logo. That's just a personal preference. But I love the frosted jar. Even the bottom label is color matched. So I think the packaging is really nice for the price point. Okay, so like I said, I should probably swatch it so you guys can see the color, but the shade Amber, let me see how they describe it on Sephora. So it says light to medium with neutral undertones, and that is just a little bit peculiar to me because, like I mentioned, there's a lot of yellow in this bronzer, and on my face it looks very, very warm, and so I don't really know how this would be for someone with light to medium skin tone with neutral undertones, because I have pretty true neutral undertones and I gravitate towards anything that says light to medium, and I don't think that this color really suits my skin tone. I don't think it looks bad. Like, I'm wearing it today. I don't think it looks bad, but it's just not as flattering on me as, let's say, the NARS Laguna bronzer. I know that a lot of people had issues with that, the performance of that. They said it was hard to blend. It's like very thick, very pigmented, and those things are all valid points, but the thing that I love about that NARS Laguna cream bronzer is the shade. I would buy it over and over because the shade suits my skin tone so well. It's so flattering. It is just a color that chisels out the face but also adds some warmth and some bronze to it. So it's kind of like a two-in-one product. It just flatters my skin tone really well. So I love it for that reason. And my first inclination with this was, oh, the color is a little bit off, not really what I expected. But then I was like, well, let's see how I like the formula. Like, maybe it's worth it if I think this formula is just so easy to work with and I just really love it. But that ended up not really being the case. I will insert a clip of me applying this as always, and I actually wanted to show you guys how I apply it with a brush and a sponge, because I feel like both ways give two totally different applications, and I don't really love either, to be honest with you. So on this side, I think it was the side of my face, I used the brush, and I used the State of Kate method that Carly and I have been following, where in anything with a jar like this, I kind of go in like this and warm it up with my finger, because I will say, like, this is very emollient when you do warm it up, but if you just go in here, it is quite thick, kind of like the NARS. So you definitely have to warm it up or it won't really blend as easily. So I go like this, warm it up, I dot it on either side of my face, and then on this side I went in with my Merit what is it, the #1 brush that I talked about in a recent brushes video, that I love using for cream bronzer because it's so soft and dense that it always blends out my cream bronzer really, really well. But even in this clip, you'll notice that, like, as I go to blend it out, it doesn't really blend out super well. I think that the issue with it is that it is very emollient, but then it's also thick. So I think that it's a little bit hard to blend, but then once you do blend it out, it doesn't really stay where you put it. Like I like Stave Kate's method of dotting it onto the skin and then blending it because it's more targeted. It's a targeted color application. And then with this formula, I felt like it just kind of gets a little bit messy. And like maybe I applied too much, but I've tried this multiple times at this point, and every single time I just feel like it doesn't look seamless with my skin. Like I have to keep blending and blending and blending, and then I still have to like go over the edges with my foundation brush. I didn't do this in the clip, but I did it after to kind of like tidy up the situation. But you'll see, like it just kind of like blended out into like a very intense patch of bronzer. And then on this side, I use the sponge, which I have to say is my preferred method of application with this product. But even on this side, like when you use the sponge to blend it out, again, you really have to work, blend it, blend it, blend it. And then I also feel like the sponge kind of shears it out. So this color was already maybe a little bit too light for my preference because of like how warm it is. Like I want something, like I said, that kind of chisels out the face. And so I feel like when I use the sponge, it kind of blends it and makes it way more sheer. So then I don't really like how that looks either, because then it almost goes away. And like I said, that could be just because of the shade. If I had a deeper shade and used a sponge, obviously I think I would like it more because it would sheer out that deeper shade to suit my skin tone better. But I'm just reviewing this particular shade and the product itself all at once right now. So I don't really love how it applies with a brush or a sponge. And I don't really love the shade Amber. So overall, I just feel like this was kind of a miss for me. And I don't think that it's a bad product, but I do want to compare it really quickly to my Danessa Myricks Balm Contour, because the first time I used this, originally I purchased it because I thought it would be like a good alternative to that. The Balm Contour is a very balmy formula. I did a whole review on that, so I'll link down below, but it's very balmy. I can only use a sponge to apply that, but it comes in a pan. I literally dip my sponge like bottom into it, and I can dab it around the perimeter of my face and be done with my bronzer in like 2 seconds. And then if you powder over top, it really does dry down and it doesn't have that balmy tackiness anymore. So I love how that looks on my skin, and I love the color light too for my skin tone. And this I thought would probably be maybe like a little bit more pigmented version of that. And I do really like, I should mention this, I didn't mention this yet, that this does actually dry down to like a soft matte finish. So I do really like the dry down of this once you get it blended out. So that was one of the positives of this formula for me. But I felt like when I blended it out and then powdered over top, like I said, it kind of just sheared out and didn't really define my face at all. I actually had to go over top with some powder bronzer just to like, you know, give me a little bit more definition today. But in the clip, I didn't obviously have any powder on. That was just foundation, and then I went in with the cream bronzer. But I wanted this to kind of like work in the same way of the Balm Contour, that I could use it on like an everyday basis really quick. And this is just not a quick product to me. I feel like it does take some work to get this to work for me, and so does that NARS cream bronzer that I love. But like I said, that color is perfect in my opinion, so it's worth it to like spend an extra couple minutes blending it out, getting it looking how I want it, because I love the end result. Whereas this, I just don't like the color really, so I felt like it's like, why go through all that work if I don't really love how the end result looks. So I actually want to insert a swatch comparing the Balm Contour to this shade as well. If you have that product or you were kind of deciding between the two, I would definitely recommend the Balm Contour, especially now because it's on Sephora. That is just like still my favorite everyday cream bronzer because it's so effortless to work with, and I just find that it looks flawless every single time I use it. So if you kind of were like thinking about getting this one but we're a little bit on the fence, I would recommend that one. And they're not the same color, but I just thought it might be helpful to see light 2 compared to amber if you're like a similar skin tone to me. I actually can throw in Laguna in there too, just so you can see all three, since those are the two that I use the most. But yeah, overall, I don't think this product is for me. Like I said, I don't think it's a bad product. I think the finish is really nice. It's just a little bit finicky, harder to work with, and this color didn't work out for me. So I'm a little bit disappointed because I was honestly so excited about this, but I thought that I would hop on here and do this review because I feel like a lot of times on these like Monday mini reviews, Carly and I always rave about the products, and it's always helpful for you guys to see if we didn't really love something either. So thank you so much for watching. If you've tried a cream bronzer that you like have fallen in love with recently, please leave it down below because I'd love to hear it.